This is going to be my first one-shot, and if you guys, or this is going to be a good chunk of the story, but if you guys want me to finish this story, get this video to 10 likes. That's when I'll do the rest of the story. But this is going to be, what if Deku, female Deku actually, is beloved and hated by everybody? So, this is the background of the world now. So gods actually exist. So Zeus, Hades, the Titans, Kronos, Atlas, the Mayan gods, Cthulhu, any god you can think of, it exists in this world. And they've made pacts with each other that they would not have their children would not have children with the quote-unquote evil gods of their sections, and the evil gods of the sections made a pact that they won't have children that have children with the good gods. But here's where Izumi comes in. That's going to be her name in this. Izumi is going to be the god that is beloved and hated by all. So there's two demigods, and they don't know they're demigods, but they find each other and they have a kid. And this one demigod is a demigod for the gods of death and rebirth. So the gods for the underworld, what you can somewhat classify as underworld gods for all faiths, like the devil, Hades, Thanatos. So all the bloodlines of the gods for them have been in this one person, have been mixed into this one person. So when they find out that they're a demigod, if they find out they're a demigod, they would be overpowered. And the gods have found a way to hide that they're demigods with the ability of quirks. Because mythology is supposed to be myth and not the average people knowing that it's real. And they had an incident. So they had to resurrect the Titan of Time, or the Father of Time, and all the gods, every faith with the gods, walks up to him and says that we need your help. And he's like, I want to destroy this world. And they go, we need your help to destroy this world. So they restart it, and quirks become a thing. So the demigods can hide better. And Kronos, for helping them with destroying the world, gets the ability to roam the world as the Father of Time. And he's like the end-all, be-all judge, jury, and executioner of the world. And Izumi is born, and he feels something shift in the entire world. So he goes up to heaven and asks, so who had a child this time? And everybody starts looking at each other like, no one here had a child. So they use their magic to contact the other gods, and the other gods say none of them have had a child. And one of the gods that was almost long forgotten, Sun Wukong, he was stuck in a cave for a really long time and almost completely forgot, comes up to them and says, I had a child not too long ago, maybe 20-ish years ago. And Kronos says that that's fine because there was a child just born and it feels like the entire world's fate has shifted. Because he could see the future and see all the paths. Now when he sees the future and sees all the paths, he noticed that there's something a little different in each of them. So he then walks up to Zeus and says, "Can you help me look?" Zeus, Apollo, and the rest of the Titans and gods start searching, and then Sun Wukong runs into his son. A legitimate son. S-O-N, not the S-U-N for the sun in the sky. He runs into his son, and his son goes, "Oh, you're the crap father that left me to rot in an orphanage." And he looks down and says, "Yeah," and feels regretful. And his son says, "Well, I don't want you in my daughter's life, so can you leave?" And Sun Wukong hears daughter and says, "How old is she?" And he says she's a few months old, and that's when the change happened. And Sun Wukong says, "Okay, I will leave and not come back. Ever." And then he tells Apollo that you need to keep an eye on her, and gives the name of Izumi Midoriya. And Apollo keeps an eye on her, and when she is 4, she manifests her ability. And most people are thinking, oh, she's just going to have all the abilities of the gods. No, she has the ability to manifest the gods' weapons, tools, and artifacts. So she can manifest Zeus's lightning bolt, then use Zeus's powers. If she manifests Apollo's chariot and bow, she can use his powers. And no, the chariot is not the sun. It looks bright in the sun, but it's not the sun. Oh no. She can't manifest the chariot. She can only manifest the bow. Apollo's bow. She can manifest all the gods' tools and artifacts. And the gods are freaking out, including Kronos, because he sees that his staff disappears once in a while, and he teleports to it, and currently is transformed into a state that no one can see him, except for Izumi. And she asks, what the hell is an old man doing here? And she has somewhat of a Bakugo personality, because she is very prideful in this one. She's going to be very prideful. And Kronos says, "Good to meet you. I am Kronos, the Titan of Time, or also known as Father Time." And she goes, "Huh, that's funny, because gods and titans are just myths." And Kronos goes, "True, we are just myths, but we're myths that are real." And then she's like, "BS. Maybe it's just a side effect of my quirk." And Kronos goes, No, it's not a side effect of your quirk." And he says, "If you ask your parents to look where I am standing, and I'll stay here, they won't see me. But you must keep a hold of the staff, or I'm going back to where I was and picking up my staff, so you can't take it back. So you can't take it." And so she goes, "Okay," and asks her parents if she can see the man that's standing right over there. And they go, "No, we can't." And then Sun Wukong shows up and says that it's time for you two to learn the truth. And Izumi's father, Hisashi, is pissed off at Sun Wukong and says, "Go the hell away. I don't want you near her." And Sun Wukong says, "I'm sorry, but you must hear this. You and Inko both." And Hisashi sees the worried look in Sun Wukong's eye and is like, "Okay, I'll give you 10 minutes to convince me, but I don't want you going anywhere near my daughter. So Hisashi and Inko both say for Izumi to play outside, and if she wants, she can go get Katsuki and play with him. And she goes, okay, walks outside and starts talking with Kronos again. And she made a nickname for him, Old Man, and each time she says it, he gets a little bit of a tick mark on his forehead, like Jiraiya getting a tick mark whenever Naruto first called him Pervy Sage. So the next thing that happens is we're going to time skip. So each god has visited Izumi, and they've made a pact that they're not going to have any more children ever again. And that Izumi is going to be the last of the gods. And they all agree that when Izumi is old enough, they're going to give her immortality. And here's where the hated part comes in. Only the light gods, the gods that are in heaven and the basically good side of religion, agreed. The evil gods, the ones that are voting to destroy the world again and that want to bring chaos to the world, say nay. So it's a 50-50 split. So the ones that say to destroy the world and all them say we will give her our blessings. And if every god gives her their blessing, she'll become immortal still, and she will be able to destroy the world. And we will let her decide the fate of this world. If she destroys it, we let it sit and be destroyed. But if she doesn't, then so be it. And the light gods are like, oh, hell no, we don't want this world destroyed. It's a perfect spot for us to keep getting energy from. Because they're being a little selfish because of the energy that worlds create. And currently only Zeus, Hades, and Kronos have been visiting Izumi because all the other gods are scared of Sun Wukong and his power. They're scared of his power because they don't have enough power to go against him. Zeus, Hades, and Kronos. Kronos because he can actually talk to them and relay messages easily. Hades because he sees her as a miniature him because he's very prideful still. And Zeus because he sees a last hope for the gods to get more followers and become strong again and become the top of the world again, instead of these quirked people who don't believe in them anymore. So the light gods give her 0 blessings, but give her immortality. The dark gods don't give her immortality, but give her their blessings. And she's hated by the light gods because she has the blessings of the dark gods, and the dark gods hate her because she has the immortality of the light gods. So the blessings of the dark gods allows her to feed off the energy of hate and despair. The light gods, while going to her, taught her how to feed off of hope and prayers from people that follow her like she is a god. And this is all until she's 18. Once she turns 18, her powers fully manifest. and she has the ability to take away godly power. And since the dark gods gave her their blessing, they basically put a failsafe in that says she can't go into the underworld if she has ill intent towards the dark gods or their domains. If she has ill intent towards the dark gods. And the light gods are cursing the dark gods because they have a failsafe, basically, in their blessings. And when what is it? Yeah. No, that won't work. When she is in high school, she was asked where does she want to go for college, and at the very end of the year, the teacher says there are 30 students in this class. 28 have signed up for careers. 1 has signed up for UA. And he completely leaves out Izumi because the dark gods, the ability to feed off of hate makes people jealous of Izumi and have negative emotions towards Izumi. And the light gods have it to where when people feel, or basically had her trained to absorb when people feel positive emotions towards her, she can feed off of that. So the teacher is a little disgusted with Izumi, but also likes her because she's the top student and doesn't cause trouble. So the teacher completely ignores Izumi's paper not showing up. And Izumi was promised by the gods and titans to meet every single one of them when she turned 18, so she can figure out what her ideals are and what she will do with her life. And they haven't said that she controls the fate of the world yet. They're going to do that when she turned 21. So Bakugo starts training, and the 10-month skip, she has met the Titans, she's met the Hindu gods, she's met all the gods in the 10-month time skip, and she's met all the gods, giants, titans. She's met all the mythical creatures, basically. And the mythical creatures bow down because they know gods and children of the gods are stronger than them. So she sees how powerful she is, and she knows that if she wanted, and really didn't like this world, she could destroy it in a mere few seconds. So she thought up of a plan. She would do whatever she wanted. So she used the staff of Kronos' Kronos' powers, because she's learned how to use the powers and she's fully manifested, so she can use any power without the items now. So she uses the abilities and starts doing vigilante work. And she sees that her one and only friend that she actually got along with, because of their personalities, they somewhat got along, Katsuki, is going to die. And she doesn't want that to happen. And so on Katsuki's deathbed, or close to Katsuki's deathbed, since he's been around Izumi long enough, He's absorbed some of the energy that she's been basically producing and feeding off of. And he sees someone standing in the middle of the USJ. He's just standing there. And Aizawa and 13 are acting like they don't see him. He's this white armored man with black wings and a black scythe. And he's just confused and he just brushes it off. And all of a sudden his scythe disappears and he looks at his hand and just looks down, depressed and slightly saddened, and the villains arrive to the USJ and they walk right through him. And Katsuki is confused because he still sees this man standing there. So he runs down with Aizawa because he's still a natural battle freak. It can defend himself really well. And starts fighting the villains. And right before he dies, the villains hear what sounded like a gong. Not a gong. Sounds like a bell. A very deep bell. And all the villains freeze and then run back to Kurogiri and asking him to open the portal so they can get out of here. Aizawa's eyes widen, going, why the hell is he here? Because they don't know the vigilante's a she. And all of a sudden this being shows up and all the wounds on the enemies, or the villains and the heroes and all that, are healed. And the villains see this and they're like, oh crap, we can't run anymore. So they lay down and basically give up. And Shigaraki, knowing that there's stories of a vigilante that has godly might and abilities, but he thought it was myth, so he thinks that this is just a person with a really strong healing quirk that can reach over a distance, arrived with the ability to sound a gong, basically. And he's like, you don't scare me. And the deep voice from this humanoid figure says, oh really? You've probably heard of me. And this is a word describing a form of a god, but this being calls himself omnipotence. And they bow gracefully and say, hello, I am omnipotence. I know what goes on everywhere. I can do whatever the hell I want because I am an omnipotent being. And Shigaraki starts thinking, no one can be omnipotent. They probably just have a healing quirk. And she goes, I don't just have a healing quirk. I am omnipotent because I know what you're thinking. And Shigaraki goes like, oh crap. All for One's gonna kill me if I don't kill All Might right now. And she says, All Might's not coming. And Shigaraki's starting to pale, and Kurogiri is shocked because he knows that there's been no one able to spy on them. And Kurogiri walks up and asks, what am I then? She goes, you are a Nomu. Your original name is... I forget Eraserhead's friend's name. And Eraserhead hears the name and freaks out by being like, what the hell? He died many years ago. And she goes, yes, he did die. His soul is in hell right now. Currently in the plains, currently in, I forget the name. Yeah, I forget the name. But if you read Percy Jackson and Percy Jackson Lightning Thief and the other one, um, what is it? The Last Hero? The Lost Hero, sorry. The Lost Hero. If you read the Lost Hero series and Percy Jackson series, you will understand what this place is. And Aizawa goes, what do you mean he's there? Like, what's going on? And she basically appears in front of him and pokes him in the forehead, like a certain Uchiha does to his loved ones, and his soul gets transported to this place, and he gets to see his friend for exactly 30 seconds. And his soul comes back to his body, and he starts crying and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now I know he's at peace, and I can move on more with my life. And she goes, I'm happy to help. And then she turns back to Kurogiri and uh, Shigaraki and says, you're an abomination that shall be exterminated from this world, because life is not to be trifled with, except by the gods. And she gives this speech about how the gods are the only ones that can mess with life and death because they know the rules and the consequences for it. So she walks up to Kurogiri, who is still in shock and is currently holding his head, and she taps him on the forehead, and all that One for All did to the body is completely erased. And Aizawa's friend's body drops to the ground and slowly disintegrates into dust, and she says his soul shall now rest completely in peace in wherever that place is. In the I think it's a garden, not the plains, because I think it's the lowest part, plains, and the highest part, which is the good part. And she uses her abilities to catch the ashes of the friend and put them in a box that she created. And she handed it to, or had it float to Aizawa, because she still thinks life is precious and that she needs to protect the ones that are pure and still willing to believe at points. And Shigaraki at this time is freaking out that his plans are going wrong, and all he's saying is, you cheated, you cheated, you cheated. And she walks up to him and says, I don't need to cheat. I'm the daughter of the gods, so I have the ability and power to do so. And then she taps Shigaraki, and he goes back in his mind, and he stops scratching because he sees a image in a world where he doesn't have the quirk of decay. And she asks, while he's seeing this world, do you wish to have a start over? Do you wish to press the undo button? And he says, yes, I wish to start over and not have this curse of the quirk. And she says, this next life that I'm sending you to is going to be harder, and it's going to be a lot more difficult because you're going to be quirkless. And Shigaraki goes, okay, I understand. And Shigaraki kneels down and basically starts praying to her, and she feeds off that energy, and she tells him to tell the people in that world, or in this do-over, to pray to me, so that world and this world, so you in every world have a do-over. And he vows to do so, and then she taps his forehead like the Uchihas did, like Sasuke does, and he disappears. And she looks at Bakugo and says, well, it's been a while, old friend, and drops her disguise, and Bakugo's like, the hell? And then time stops. Kronos walks up to her and says, you need to stop doing this. And she goes, I know. But can you stop me? And he goes, no, I can't. Just do it already. And she turns back time. And she's still in adult form right this second. When she gets back to that time where Shigaraki is born, she sees that she's still in her mother, and she's like, oh, Shigaraki's also my age. I didn't pay attention to that. So she she uses her omnipotence to control Shigaraki's quirk and take it away. So 4 years go by, and she relives that section of her life. And Shigaraki, who she became friends with, and he's been preaching to everybody that there is a God, and this God is among them, and this God is going to be here soon. They're coming, and it's the great Messiah, and preaching that they can do whatever the hell they want. And everybody's like, he's thinking he's crazy. When she's 4, she manifests her powers again, and she thinks, okay, this is going to be different. And instead of manifesting her normal abilities, she manifests all of her abilities immediately. And her time-stopping abilities works on everything. So she contacts the gods, and the gods freak out because there's a new person showing up, and she explains what happened, and Kronos says that, yes, 4 years ago I did sense a child, and we've been searching for them. And Sun Wukong runs in saying, I have a granddaughter? And yes, she's at a Greek pantheon, talking with the gods. And he runs in saying, I have a granddaughter. And she goes, yes, but my father doesn't want you to talk to me. And he looks down sad and says, I know, I've been a very bad dad. And all the gods look down going, we've all been there. We've all been there. And Kronos says, so what exactly did you do? And she explains her abilities and how she's more powerful than everybody. And Hades shows up thinking, oh, I'm going to get her on my side. And he shows up and feels his blessing already put on her. And he asks, the hell is this? For some reason, I've already blessed her. And she goes, yeah, last time. And he goes, what do you mean last time? She goes, yeah, I kind of went back in time with all my knowledge and abilities. So all the dark gods have blessed me, and all the light gods gave me immortality. And then Kronos goes, if you turn back time that much and change fate, they shouldn't stay. And she goes, you also gave me a blessing. And he goes, I did? She goes, yeah. you gave me the blessing out of fate. And the Sisters of Fate, one of the Sisters of Fate, show up and say, the loom has stopped. And Izumi, he walks up to them and says, it hasn't stopped. It's paused. Because I've decided the next few years of fate. And they look at her like she's crazy and go, it's not possible to decide fate. And Izumi goes, it very is possible. So, until I'm 18, the loom will be paused. And they go, okay, we can't do anything about it. We can just only make the string, the thread of fate. And they're like, so we're gonna have a break for 18 years? And Zeus goes, hell no, you're still making the thread of fate. You can slow down on production, but you still got to make it. And they're like, fine. And so they go back to working on the thread of fate, and Izumi goes back to life and grows up till she's 18, and the loom starts spinning again. And the thread starts getting weaved again, this time slower than normal. And they look at this and wonder why. And they look at the thread and see that it's 2 times longer than normal. So the loom has basically updated itself. So one of them runs to Olympus and tells them the situation. And Izumi, knowing what the situation is already because of her basically omnipotence, is controlling the loom and has it slow down slightly so she can control it better. And the gods are like, what the hell is going on? And they are now thinking that, okay, the gods did give her blessings, and I'm going to end it there. So they were attacked at the USJ, but she stopped it. She went back in time, and she stopped multiple items. She stopped All Might's injury. Well, she didn't stop the injury. She just gave him basically pain reduction till after the fight. So All Might does kill All for One. Nana Shimura does stay alive because they fought All for One in that fight together. All Might still has his guts ripped out, and when he notices that his guts were ripped out, he starts feeling pain after the fight. And they just blame it on his adrenaline, and that it shocked his system when he got his organs ripped out. And then when she's 18, she applies to UA, and because she thought one of the people there was cute. And since she knows she can do whatever the hell she wants, she's currently at the entrance exams, ready to start. So I'm going to end it there. This is What If Deku Was a Omnipotent Being. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Give me 10 likes if you guys want more of this series. I probably won't do any more, but this is a good thinking point and reference point for me if I want to do what if Izuku or Izumi, what if Deku or Femdeku was a demigod of a Greek god or any other god. So, if you guys want more of this series, the OP Deku series, please hit that like button. Probably may not do it for a week or two, but I definitely would start getting it done. I need to finish my other series first. So, talk to you guys later. Bye!